From MTN News, this is Montana This Morning.
The highly contested Guthrie development on Villard and 5th was denied by Bozeman City Commission early Wednesday morning. I'm MTN's Heaven Van with a look at how it all went down.
High stakes for President Biden. I'm Jared Hill with today's closely watched press conference as the first sitting Democratic senator says Biden should leave the race.
As you can see behind me, Montana State University is under construction. I'm Cassidy Powers, here to tell you about some of those projects, including the new gym and wellness center. And I'll tell you when you can expect that to be open.
Alrighty, it is 6 o'clock. Speaking of Montana State University,
there it is. There's plenty going on, that's for sure. I've been up there throughout the week. I have a kid doing a camp that's up there, and you know, the construction. It just had dawned on me on Monday how crazy it's been for so long.
Oh, it's everywhere. I mean, and I've been thinking about those construction workers, farmers. I mean, anybody spending long periods outside during this heat wave.
And you really bank on the cool part of the day. And this morning, the temperature's been hovering around 60. Right now, 58 in Belgrade, 61 in Bozeman, 53 in Butte. That's certainly more comfortable than the 90s to near 100 degrees that we've had. But looking for rain, it's few and far between our chances. There may be a slight chance today. I don't think any of that's really enough to really bring us rain showers that actually hit the ground. You can see the haze in our sky. Air quality not top notch, but has been worse certainly as we've anybody who's lived here for any length of time has seen. Temperatures in the 90s again this afternoon. Air quality not the best. I'm going to talk more about that air quality in just a few minutes.
All right, thank you very much, Matt. Now, one of Bozeman's most contested developments, the Guthrie, was rejected by city commissioners early Wednesday morning. The vote came after nearly 5 hours of deliberation. MTN's Heaven Van gives us a look inside Tuesday night's contentious meeting.
After nearly 5 hours of intense discussion, the Bozeman City Commission voted to deny the development of the Guthrie.
The motion to deny passes 3-2.
The 111-unit 5-story housing complex was proposed for the corner of 5th and Villard by home-based partners, using deep incentives under the city's affordable housing ordinance to increase its height and slash parking to only 37 spaces. Originally, the project was going to bypass public review, but per resident request, commissioners reclaimed the project in April. Many residents say they're frustrated with the lack of representation.
I want you to listen to the people. This is a full house. Please listen to our community.
Tensions ran high during the meeting, some even suggesting that commissioners were shilling for developers, prompting a response from acting city manager Chuck Wynn.
They are not shills for any developer. They are simply following the code that this commission has adopted. And for the character assassinations for these fine professionals, if you want to be mad at the staff, be mad at me when I'm sitting in the city manager's chair.
At 9:15, more than 20 people stood up to give public comment, most opposed to the development, citing concerns over traffic, parking, and neighborhood integrity. But others said,
this type of development is literally how we fix traffic. But building dense housing in places where people can walk across the street to a food truck court rather than driving across town to get dinner, it's how we fix traffic.
Among many other concerns, Commissioner Magic stated the building seemed cramped to the point of dysfunction. Others were unconvinced on whether the units could even be considered one bedroom at only 400 square feet. Commissioners Fisher, Morrison, and Magic voted to reject. Commissioner Bodie and Mayor Cunningham voted to approve. In Bozeman, Heaven Van, MTN News.
Thank you very much, Heaven. Now on the national scene, later today, President Joe Biden is expected to hold a news conference in Washington with the NATO summit wrapping up. Also today, some of the president's top advisors are expected to meet with Senate Democrats to address their concerns after at least one sitting member joined calls for him to bow out of the race. CBS News' Jared Hill has the latest from New York.
May we continue to grow stronger and closer in all the years ahead.
President Joe Biden and NATO leaders toasted a unified alliance as the president's support among members of his own party stands on shakier ground. Wednesday, Vermont Democrat Peter Welch became the first sitting senator to call on Biden to pull out of the presidential race. The same day, Democratic Party megadonor George Clooney dealt Biden another blow, calling on the president to step aside in a New York Times op-ed. The actor described his interactions with the president at a fundraiser he hosted for Biden 3 weeks ago, writing, "He wasn't even the Joe Biden of 2020. He was the same man we all witnessed at the debate."
Biden can ignore the polls, he can't ignore fundraising. And that's why George Clooney's statement matters.
The decision is the president's.
Former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said in an interview yesterday, it's up to the president to decide if he's going to stay in the race. But Mr. Biden's already announced he has no plans to drop out.
Anybody saying that he should resign is a big mistake, We have a wonderful president right now.
Everybody knows that at some point you got to take your grandparents' keys, like probably around the age Joe Biden is.
Biden's Republican rival, former President Donald Trump, slammed both Pelosi and Clooney on social media yesterday, while also poking at the Democrats' infighting. Jared Hill, CBS News.
And after tonight's news conference, President Biden will again take his case directly to the American people with a campaign event scheduled in Michigan tomorrow. Former President Trump is also back on the campaign trail this weekend in Pennsylvania ahead of next week's GOP convention in Milwaukee. All eyes will be on who the former president chooses as a running mate in the coming days. Now also on the national headlines, United Airlines faces more questions after a wheel fell off of a Boeing 757 just after takeoff in Los Angeles this week. It's the second time that this has happened to a United jet this year. Chris Van Cleave has more on the incident.
This video shows the United Boeing 757 during a normal takeoff from LAX Sunday. But what happened Monday morning was anything but normal.
United 1001, we were just told a tire came off your aircraft.
Okay, stand by.
Operating as Flight 1001, the 29-year-old plane left LA for Denver with 181 people on board when it lost a wheel, which came crashing down onto the runway.
That 75 that just took off, I believe United. Its tire came off and came rolling past us.
Alan Stubblefield was on the flight.
We're within probably 2 minutes of landing, and that's when the pilot came on and said, everybody to their emergency positions. And all of the flight attendants immediately went into brace, 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 brace.
Each set of landing gears equipped with multiple wheels, and Flight 1001 touched down safely in Denver. But Monday's incident marks the second time a wheel has fallen off a United plane during takeoff in the last 4 months. In March, it was this Boeing 777 in San Francisco where the fallen wheel hit cars in a parking lot just off the runway. No one was hurt.
The fact that it's happened twice, well, that's a very unfortunate trend.
Former NTSB Chair Robert Sumwalt.
So this really falls squarely on United Airlines, and it's an indictment into their maintenance. I don't think people really need to be concerned about getting on a United airplane, but I think it does certainly raise some legitimate questions.
Now the FAA and United are investigating the incident. Chris Van Cleave, CBS News, Phoenix.
Now back in some Church or State headlines, construction workers are on the job over on Grant Street on the Montana State University campus, where a half dozen projects are underway. Our Cassidy Powers shows us which new building will be opening first.
If you've driven by the Montana State University campus recently, you probably saw a lot of this, and a whole lot of this. So let's talk about some construction projects going on campus.
You know, it can be a bit noisy.
I spoke with some folks that work on the MSU campus to see how this summer construction has been affecting them.
It's definitely affected parking, and it's become a bit of a toss-up whether or not you're going to be able to park within a half mile to your office.
But students' parking prayers might just be answered. So let's talk about why.
The biggest thing that people are going to notice right now on campus, probably two projects. One, of course, is the paving work that's going on at the Bobcat Stadium parking lot. And the second project is the ongoing work on our Student Wellness Center.
I spoke to Michael Becker, an MSU spokesperson. He tells me Montana State is currently undergoing around 6 major construction projects. Becker tells me the Bobcat Stadium parking lot is a part of parking improvements at the university, with a whopping $213 million price tag. The new lot, which was previously gravel, will now be paved and lined.
Lining the spots in that lot properly are going to actually add about 450 spots to the lot's capacity.
Paving is expected to start this month and end somewhere around mid-August. As for the new wellness center, which has been under construction for nearly 5 years after the roof of the 2 previous gyms collapsed under the weight of heavy snow, Becker tells me this will be a major improvement.
We now have a one-stop location for students to get all of their wellness needs fulfilled, whether that's their recreational health, or their mental health, or their medical health, or their dental health, or their pharmacy needs, all going to be in one location.
This new wellness center costs around $78 million, fully funded by student fees. And mark your calendars because the grand opening will be August 19th. In Bozeman, Cassidy Powers, MTN News.
Thank you very much, Cassidy. And in other campus news, Montana State University has been designated a tree campus by the Arbor Day Foundation for the 13th year in a row. The designation recognizes MSU's commitment to managing its campus forest and encouraging community conservation goals. Montana State is home to more than 2,700 trees. And an innovative idea in agriculture held its grand opening on Tuesday. The ribbon was cut Tuesday afternoon on the Quinn Institute southeast of Big Sandy. The facility is the brainchild of renowned organic farmer Bob Quinn, perhaps best known as being the man behind popular crackling kamut snacks. The Quinn Institute focuses on organic agriculture research, education, and health. It covers approximately 700 acres and is divided into multiple fields for demonstration of rotations using cash, cover, and non-traditional crops. It includes comparisons with organic and non-organic systems. And over in the mining city, a quintessential Butte play is returning for the 2nd year in a row. The Butte the Bold production raises money for the World Museum of Mining. The play brings some of the mining city's lesser-known characters to life. This year's production sticks to the original script, with the majority of last year's cast returning, including MTN's very own John Amy as an Irish miner and teller of tall tales.
We had so much fun doing it last year, and this year the cast has returned and they've just brought a little bit extra passion for the project. So we're hoping to make it, bigger, bolder, beauter than before.
The production takes place over at the Coley Light Theater Thursday, that's tonight at 6:30 in the evening, and it will show again on July 18th. Tickets are going to run you about $25, and all the proceeds go to benefit the World Museum of Mining.
I think that is great, and you get a chance to see John Amy in action. I laugh almost every time that I talk to that guy.
I do too.
So funny.
It's hard not to. I mean, he is just such a charismatic dude.
Yep.
And I loved what she said, bigger, bolder, and beauter
Yeah,
than ever
that's
before.
awesome.
I'm going to start using that. I might steal it. Now, before we head into a break, wanted to keep talking about the weather, specifically the aftermath of that Hurricane Beryl that came through earlier this week. This is over in Galveston, of course, on the coast of Texas. Absolutely just, heartbreaking for the owners of these homes, people that live here, but just really shocking to see the strength of a hurricane.
Yeah, and you have to look at the wind speed, 74 miles an hour or greater at times, and that's a sustained wind. It's not a wind gust that just continues to push through, taking off roofs there. Of course, flooding, a big issue that we had with Beryl, mainly because the storm surge just kind of pushing into those areas. So very much devastating.
And at the moment, U.S. Hurricane Beryl is being blamed for at least 7 deaths in the United States, 11 in the Caribbean, and we're seeing some of the aftermath in other ways, weather-wise.
We're talking tornadoes and thunderstorms and again flooding.
Yeah, so something definitely that everyone's watching at the moment. Now, we're going to be taking a break, but when we come back, we're going to have your top stories. We're going to focus in on some Montana forecasting for you, and West Yellowstone's police chief is moving up his retirement plans. Up next, we're going to find out why.